The long chain fatty acids, what we have, we call them as fat. Okay, these are the normal soaps which we use for bath, that is called as the toilet soap. Magnesium, insoluble magnesium stearate soap we will get. Anionic detergent, cationic detergent and non-ionic detergent, that is CH3, CH2 10 times, CH2OH. We call it as lauryl alcohol. Hello my dear students, welcome back to the last session on the chapter Chemistry in Everyday Life. Last class we have studied about the therapeutic action of different classes of drugs and also we studied about the chemicals in food. Today we shall learn about the cleaning agent or the cleansing agent. So cleansing agents are basically called as detergents. Okay, so detergents are the cleansing agents which we use. They are of two types, that is soap and synthetic detergent. So first we learn about what are soap. Soap is a sodium or potassium salt of long chain fatty acid like stearic acid, oleic acid or palmitic acid. So we have long chain fatty acids which on saponification will give rise to soap. So what is saponification? So soaps containing sodium salt or potassium salt are formed by heating fat. I told you that is the long chain fatty acids what we have. We call them as fat. Okay. So this when it is heated with aqueous sodium hydroxide solution, we get soap. Example, we'll take this. See, this is stearic acid or glyceryl ester of stearic acid we can tell. So it is C17H35COOCH2, C17H35COOCH, C17H35COOCH2. Glyceryl ester of stearic acid. Just stearic acid is C17H35COOH. Okay, glyceryl ester means there is an ester group here, COO group, and this is formed by glyceryl group. Okay, we can get to know glycerol is there, so the same group is here, so we call it as glyceryl ester of stearic acid or fat what we are taking, that is the long chain fatty acids what we are taking here. This one when it is treated with sodium hydroxide, aqueous sodium hydroxide, what exactly is happening here? What happens is NaOH will break the bond. So you can see here one bond, here one bond. Here what is getting added up? It is Na, here OH group, here one sodium, here one OH group, here one sodium and here one OH group is getting added. This is just for your convenience. I am explaining like this. Mechanism if you see it will be a little different. So it is you get C17H35COONA. So this is called as sodium stearate which is nothing but soap. Okay, it is sodium or potassium salt of a fatty acid. Okay, and what is else is formed? CH2OH, CHOH, CH2OH, that is nothing but glycerol or glycerin is formed. Okay, so this process is called as saponification. So you're taking fat, okay, that is glyceryl ester of fatty acid, which we call it as fat, treating it with sodium hydroxide, you will get sodium or potassium salt. Here sodium hydroxide if you take, it is sodium salt of fatty acid. If you take potassium hydroxide, you will get potassium salt of the fatty acid which is called as soap. Okay, and you will also get glycerol or glycerin as the other product, and this process is called as what? Saponification. Okay, next is different types of soap. There are so many different types of soap. Which are there? We learn here. The first one is the toilet soap. What is toilet soap? These are prepared by using better grades of fats and oils, and care is taken to remove the excess alkali. Alkali material is removed and then the color and perfume can be added to make them more attractive. These are the normal soaps which we use for bath, that is called as the toilet soap. So what is it? The grade of fat which they are using during saponification is a very good one, and some essential oils are also used. Okay. So fats and oils which are used are taken of a better grading, and then during the saponification process, whatever alkali which we are added, that is NaOH which we are adding, if it is there in excess, it is taken care that it is removed so that it is not harming the skin, and color and perfume can be added to make it more attractive. These are toilet soaps. Next type of soap is the transparent soap. This is made by dissolving soap. Once the saponification is done, the soap is dissolved in ethanol and excess of the solvent ethanol is evaporated. Then we get transparent soaps. The third type is the medicated soaps. For these medicated soaps, some medicines are added to that soap during saponification, and also some soaps, deodorants are also added. Okay, so they are called as the medicated. Some medicines are added to the soap. Next is about the shaving soap. Now, what is this shaving soap? They contain glycerol to prevent rapid drying. A gum called as rosin is added, okay, while making them, and it forms sodium rosinate which lathers well. For shaving, we know that we require a lot of lather, isn't it? So why exactly the lather will come? Because they have added a chemical called as rosin which will form sodium rosinate which will give good lathering. Okay. Next type of soap is called as the laundry soap. Okay. They contain fillers like sodium rosinate is there, sodium silicate, borax, and sodium carbonate is also added for laundry soap. That is for washing purposes what we use. We call it as the laundry soap. Next is about the soap chips. Now, what are these soap chips? Okay, they are small pieces of soap. How exactly it is done? They are made by running a thin sheet of melted soap onto a cool cylinder and scraping them off. So, thin sheets of soap which is melted is added to a cool cylinder. Okay, you heat, you get the melted soap, then it is added to a cool cylinder, it will cool immediately, it will form some sheets, and then the scraping is done to get small pieces. We call them as soap chips. Okay. Next is soap granules. They are nothing but the miniature soap bubbles which are dried. So the soap bubbles which are there, when it is dried, we call them as soap granules. The last type is soap powders and scoring soap. Okay. Contains some soap and they contain some scoring agent. It is something like the powdered pumice is added, or finely divided sand is added, or builders can be added like sodium carbonate and trisodium phosphate can be added. Such soaps are called as the scoring soap or the soap powders. Okay. Next, what is the advantage of using soap? First advantage is they are good cleansing agent and they are 100% biodegradable. That is, whenever we are using soap and it goes to the sewage, the microorganisms in the sewage can oxidize this soap, so it can be degraded easily. That is the first advantage of using soap, and it's a very good cleansing agent. But also, there's a disadvantage of the soap, that is, it cannot be used in hard water, because hard water contains what? Salts of calcium and magnesium ions are there. So, because these calcium and magnesium ions, when it reacts with soap, it will form white precipitate of calcium and magnesium salts. So there are some salts which is formed which is insoluble, and thus it will form some precipitate, and soaps cannot be used in hard water. So this is the main disadvantage of soap. Next is about why do soaps not work in hard water? Why it cannot work in hard water? What exactly is happening when soap is added to hard water? Hard water contains what? Calcium and magnesium ions. It reacts with the soap to form insoluble calcium and magnesium. Soaps are only formed. Here you can see the reaction. Soap is C17H35COONA, that is sodium salt of stearic acid we have taken here. It reacts with the calcium chloride which is present in hard water to form sodium with chlorine will form NaCl. Calcium will go here to form insoluble calcium stearate soap. So the soap only will become insoluble there. Okay. Similarly, you can see when soap is reacted with calcium chloride as well as magnesium chloride, you will get magnesium, insoluble magnesium stearate soap we will get. Okay. Now these insoluble soap separate as scum. Have you all seen the white powdery or precipitate which is formed when soap is added to water? That is called as scum. Okay. And these are useless in cleansing action. They do not have any property of cleaning the scum which is formed. Thus, it is also an hindrance for good washing because the precipitate adheres to the fiber of the cloth, forming a gummy mass. Even when hair is washed with hard water with soap, they look dull because the scum can get adhered to the hair, okay, and it becomes sticky. Similarly, dyes do not adsorb on the cloth evenly when soap is used in hard water because it forms scum which acts like a gummy mass. Okay, so this is why soap cannot be used in hard water. Next, we are going to study about the synthetic detergents. Now, what are synthetic detergents? Detergents are sodium salt of long chain alkyl benzene sulfonic acid. What is it? It is sodium salt of long chain alkyl benzene sulfonic acid or sodium salt of long chain of alkyl hydrogen sulfate. So it is a sodium salt of alkyl benzene sulfonic acid or alkyl hydrogen sulfates. So these are called as detergents. There are three types of detergent, that is anionic detergent, cationic detergent and non-ionic detergent. So we learn about every type of detergent. Okay. First one is the anionic detergent. Anionic detergents are sodium salt of sulfonated long chain alcohol or hydrocarbons. So what is it? It is the sodium salt. All are sodium salts of what? Long chain sulfonated alcohols or hydrocarbons. So what we are doing? How is it prepared? First we take alkyl hydrogen sulfates are formed from treating. Okay, alkyl hydrogen sulfates are formed by treating long chain alcohols with concentrated sulfuric acid. Okay, or similarly alkyl benzene sulfonates are obtained by heating or neutralizing alkyl benzene sulfonic acid with alkali. So we'll see the process with the equation here. So I have lauryl alcohol, that is CH3, CH2 10 times CH2OH. We call it as lauryl alcohol, N-lauryl alcohol. It is in a straight chain. First, when I treat it with sulfuric acid, you can see lauryl hydrogen sulfate will be formed. See, just remember, this part remains the same. Only the reaction is happening in the OH group here. So OH group with H2SO4, when it reacts, it forms OSO3H. So this is called as hydrogen sulfate. Okay, so you'll get lauryl hydrogen sulfate. Now this is treated with sodium hydroxide. We'll treat it with sodium hydroxide. What is happening? This hydrogen will go along with OH as water and sodium will come into its place. So it becomes sodium lauryl sulfate, which is an anionic detergent. The equation looks difficult, but it is actually very easy to write. You just have to remember what is lauryl there. That is CH3, CH2, 10, CH2, OH is lauryl alcohol. You remove OH, put OSO3H, we call it as lauryl hydrogen sulfate. Again, when it is treated with NaOH, H will be removed and Na will be added, that is sodium lauryl sulfate will be formed. Similarly, you can see here dodecyl benzene. We are taking, that is CH3, CH211 with the benzene ring. We call it as dodecyl benzene. First, when it is treated with H2SO4, in the para position SO3H will come, that is dodecyl benzene sulfonic acid will be formed. Now, this benzene sulfonic acid you take and treat it with NaOH. All the other things remains as it is, only H will be removed and sodium ion will come. So, we call it as sodium dodecyl benzene sulfonate. Okay, so these are the two types of anionic detergents. Here, the anionic part is involved in cleansing action. The anionic part, not the cationic. Sodium is not involved in the cleansing action. It is this part, the anionic part, which is involved in the cleansing action. They are mostly used in household work and in toothpaste also. So this is anionic detergent. Next is cationic detergents. What are cationic detergents? Cationic detergents are quaternary ammonium salt of amines with acetate, chlorides or bromides as anions. So what is it? See, amine we have NH, for example, ammonia we have NH3. Okay, all the hydrogen is removed and one more alkyl group is added. Then we call it as quaternary salt of amine. Correct? So here we have 4 hydrocarbon groups attached. So this is cetyl trimethyl ammonium with bromide ion as the anion here. Okay, so the cationic part possesses a long hydrocarbon chain and a positive charge on the nitrogen atom. I have put the positive charge here, and the negative part can be bromide, chloride, or it can be even acetate group. Okay, so this is cationic detergent. This is one example. Cationic detergents are usually used in hair conditioners and they are having germicidal properties, but they are quite expensive, so it is limited use. Okay, next is non-ionic detergents. These do not contain any ions. Okay, so they do not contain any ions in their constitution, but they are like esters of high molecular mass. Detergents formed by condensation reaction between the stearic acid and polyethyl glycol. Example we can see here. This is stearic acid CH3, CH2, 16COOH. Okay, then we have polyethylene glycol, that is CH2, CH2O, 13OH, CH2, CH2OH. Okay, this, what will happen here, you can see H2O is removed and an ester will be formed. COO group is formed here. Rest all remains as it is. Okay, COO group is formed here, and this one is called as non-ionic detergents. You do not have any ions here. They are just the esters. Okay, so these are non-ionic detergents. Next is we have biodegradable detergents and the non-biodegradable detergents. What are biodegradable detergents is an important question. It is having a straight hydrocarbon chain that can be decomposed by microorganisms very easily. Okay, example, sodium lauryl sulfate is a biodegradable detergent, that is, it can be broken by microorganisms. It is degradable, it will not cause any pollution. Okay, so that is biodegradable detergents. Non-biodegradable are those which is having branched hydrocarbon chain and it cannot be decomposed by microorganisms easily. So they are non-biodegradable detergents. So these are the other two types of detergents which we need to know. So I hope you have understood today's class. Thank you, my dear children. Stay tuned, stay focused.